All right, welcome. Welcome to my home, my humble abode. How you doing? I'm Easy Street from 96.3 WHUR. And this is WHUR at home. Yes, WHUR at home. What a great idea. Who came up with this? Hey Perez, how you doing, bro? All right, hey Sage. All right, Robin Razzie, there you go. All right, okay. Robinson, I see you. How are you? Welcome. Hey, Laramie. Okay. Of course, I am Easy Street from 96.3 WHUR. Thank you so much for hanging out with us inside my crib, Brandywine, Maryland, where I've been broadcasting live for the last couple of weeks, of course, due to COVID-19. And today, we got a special guest. Guess who our special guest is? You already know who it is. Come on now. You know who it is. Yes, it's Montell Jordan. Montell Jordan, there he is right there. Hold on. You know what? Let's not even just let's just get right into it. Let's bring on Montell Jordan right now. And when he comes in the room, you guys better clap your hands and stomp your feet and put some love on the screen for Mr. Montell Jordan.
What's up? What's up? Easy. What's good, family?
Hey man, it is so good to see you, bruh.
Good to see you too, man. Especially because we're on lockdown. We're on timeout. So when you're on timeout, it's good to see.
Quarantined and it is cool, man, because we're using this technology in a way I don't think that I've seen people doing stuff like this, you know, before the situation happened to us with the pandemic, man.
No, real talk, man. I've connected with fraternity brothers I ain't talked to in 20 something years. Me and my brothers and sisters finally got together after, you know, because we live on different coasts and we didn't connect it, so somehow Auntie Rona and brought the family back together a little bit, you know?
There you go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Montell Jordan is officially in the building. I need to see some love on the screen for this legend right now. Now, let's back up a little bit. Okay, this is WHUR at home. I'm at home in Brandywine, Maryland. Really quick, where are you at? Can you tell us?
I'm in the ATL, man. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. But, hey, first of all, I want to start out for the people that's coming on. Man, y'all have been playing my new song, and I think it's like either like the number 3 record, like a couple weeks ago it was the number 1 record. So that means I got love in DC. I've always had a great love for the DC, Virginia area, you know, and just the fact that y'all have been supportive of this new project. I just want to start out by saying thank you for that, man. It means the world.
Hey, man, of course, from back in the 90s, man, I mean, you've been going strong for a very, very long time, and DC has had a love affair with Montell Jordan for a very long time. So I don't know if you remember this or not, but there was long time ago in the early 90s, I had my little laptop. You came to the radio station, I had my little laptop. I had the camera set up. I was probably the first one to be broadcasting live on the internet with the video and the audio. People were like, why are you doing this? Fast forward to 2020, me and you are doing this again.
All over again, yeah. Come full circle, man. Full circle. It's all
that
good,
is
though.
Crazy. So now, I want to talk about what you're doing right now. You took some time off, and I understand you got married. Congrats! Talk about that.
Yeah, well, you know, I've been married now for going on 25 years. You know, it'll be 26 years in to the same woman. Married to the same one for almost 26 years in June. June the 18th, we'll be celebrating our 26th anniversary. We got 4 kids together, 32, 23, 16, and 7. You know, they're all 7 to 8 years apart. It takes me that long to get a deal done, but it's all good. I get it done. And I did take some time away from the music business a couple of years ago, 2010. And I went into full-time ministry in 2011. I'm ordained and licensed pastor, Christian, was brought up in church, but finally determined that I wanted to answer I felt like the call that was on my life, or the purpose that was on my life. And I stepped away from music literally for 5 years and didn't do anything easy, you know what I'm saying, for like 5 years. And then a door opened up for me to do music again, but not to do it like I had done previously, but to do it, you know, in a way that could reach people to be able to see the transformation of what God did in my life, that he could do it for them.
Awesome. Okay, so for the people that are just joining in, I'm Easy Street from 96.3 WHUR. That is Montell Jordan. This is WHUR at home. We're both at our homes in different places, but you're getting to witness something very special. Now, I wanted to talk to you, or shout out to Angela Stribling really quick.
Yo, what's up? A lot of folks in there, Charles, and we see y'all, man. Thank y'all for being in the room with us.
We see y'all. We see y'all. And you know, at the end of this, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to ask questions as well. So now, you talked about, you know, getting married. You talked about taking a break from the music. What ultimately brought you back to where we are now? We got the smash hit single that we're playing on WHUR. How did that whole thing happen? And I know, of course, your brother Lecrae is on that record as well.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So the crazy story behind me even re-entering the music business is when I left in 2010, I said, I'm not going to sing this how we do it no more. I'm not, like, I'm losing all the tracks. Like, I'm done. I'm not doing no more R&B music. I stepped away literally for 5 years. And during that 5-year span, this one promoter kept calling me up. He kept calling my wife, who was managing me. And every single year he would call and say, I want Montell on this show. I want Montell on this show. And she didn't even return his calls. And so finally, after this dude very persistently continued to call, around year 5, she answered the call and she was like, hey, why do you keep calling? He's like, because I want Montell on my show. She said, you know Montell's in ministry now, right? And he was like, yeah, I know. I'm a Christian too. I've been following his career. And she's like, well, if you know he's a Christian now, you know he can't do the songs that he used to do back then. He's like, yeah, I know. He can do whatever he wants to do. And she was like, well, why do you want him on the show then? And he basically said, because my shows are really dark and I need some light. So when he said that, it was like, okay, I got to rethink what I'm called to do. And so I went back to God, because I talked to him like I'm talking to you. I went back to God and I was like, God, you told me not to sing the song no more. And people want me to do this tour, this or that. And I felt like God said to me, and some people hear God's voice audibly. I'm not saying I heard his voice audibly, but I felt like God said to me, when I said, you told me not to sing that song no more. He said, I didn't tell you that. You said that. You said you weren't going to sing the song anymore. I never told you that. And so at that point, I started to rethink the songs that I could do, that I could put a twist on, to give people the nostalgia of the 90s, the songs, the hits they remember, but then to tell the stories that were behind those hits, so people could see the transformation of what God did in my life. And so I flipped out, this is how we do it, 1 billion different times, you know. Kind of buzz, and it's all because this is how we do it. Oh, Easy does it like nobody does. Bar mitzvahs do it like nobody does. DC does it like, you know, I sang the song 1 billion different times. And so I'm able to allow that song to transform to be whatever it needs to be, you know what I'm saying, for the occasion. And so literally, I was able to go back out on tour. I love the 90s tour, travel all over the world. But not for people to give me the accolades, but for people to be able to see what God did in my life, you know. And I do it no matter where I go. And so it's been a blessing, man, to be able to go back out and tour and do ministry.
Awesome, man. That is an incredible story. I really appreciate you for sharing that. Of course, this is WHUR at home. That is Montell Jordan, and he is back on the scene now. Let's talk about your relationship with the good brother Lecrae. By the way, I love this dude, man. This is one of my favorite artists on the planet. You guys, your stories are kind of like similar. He was on my TV show here in DC, and he kind of has a similar story where he grew up loving rap music. He decided to go in this direction, but he came back and was like, you know what? Hey, look, God told me that I can be able to do this, but in my own special way and still glorify me. That's exactly what you just said. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, well, I think, and I see Tyler, and I see Crystal, and Best Body, a bunch of people. We want to know. We see y'all names as you typing in. Our stories are different, but very, very similar at the same time. And what that is that Lecrae is one of the dopest rappers out there. Period. People want to say, well, he's a Christian rapper. I say, and he would say that he's a rapper who's a Christian. And so, from that standpoint, the way that I try and explain it to people, and people want to argue it all the time. You know, if you're supposed to be a Christian like me, I'm only supposed to do Christian music. I'm only supposed to just do music for God. And so I have to look at it and I determine, I have my daughter who's 7 years old. When she was in my wife's womb, I wrote a lullaby for my daughter. And I used to sing that lullaby into my wife's stomach before my daughter was ever born. So when my daughter was born in the hospital room, when she was crying, the very first breaths that she was taking and she was crying, I started singing the song to her that I sang when she was in the womb. And my daughter immediately recognized my voice and she stopped crying. To this day, 7 years later, I still sing that lullaby to my daughter when I tuck her into bed at night. Now get this, it's not a Christian song. It's a lullaby. It doesn't say the name of Jesus in it. It's just a lullaby. And so what happens is, can a lullaby that I create for my daughter glorify God? Yes. Can a jazz song that has no words, can a jazz song that's using the gift that God gave me that makes people feel good and makes them feel enlightened or encouraged, can a jazz song glorify God? Yes, it can. And so I've learned that music is not good or evil. Music is just music. It's a gift. And then what you do with that gift determines whether it glorifies God or glorifies something else. And so Lecrae and I think both have that message that no matter, I stepped out on faith with Lecrae asking him to be on the song because I told him it's not a Christian song. It's an R&B record. But it's an R&B record that's used to support marriage ministry, because my wife and I, we do marriage ministry together, and we go to churches sometimes, and the music that you want to have on a date night, or sometimes, there's words in there and concepts and themes in that music that sometimes the church won't let you in there. So I was like, well, let me create my own soundtrack that don't have any of those type of that deals with sensuality as opposed to sexuality, and it's going to glorify God between a husband and a wife. And so I created the album, and Lecrae got on it with me because he's my frat brother and because he's married, and we love doing these things together. What's up, Angela Stribling? Hey, what's up, girl?
Awesome story. Thank you so much for sharing that. Of course, this is WHUR's At Home. I'm Easy Street. That is Montell Jordan at his home in Atlanta. We really appreciate you taking time out. Now, you talked about the wife in the ministry, the marriage ministry. Could you tell us about what that's all about and how did that happen?
Yeah, man, that's the best thing in the world right now. Me and my wife, we do that together. It's called Marriage Masterpiece. Masterpiece spelled P-E-A-C-E. And we, thanks, Blue, appreciate that. And basically, it's because we should not have made it. My wife and I, like I said, we're going on 26 years on June the 18th. We shouldn't have made it. But God was gracious to allow us to be willing to stay and to work it together. And because we stayed together, only because God, and I can't even fully explain what that is, but I was a guy that was unfaithful to my wife. I was unfaithful to my wife multiple times. I traveled the world, and I was just a bastard with it. You know what I'm saying? She could have left. She could have legitimately taken half, and I believe that God was speaking to her at the time. And, when friends were saying, girl, you should leave and take half, God was saying, why don't you stay and have it all? And so we got into the position where she had a choice to stay, but God said, but for the life of you and your daughter, if you stay, I'm going to give you double for your trouble. So at the time, I got a daughter who's 4 years old, and me and my wife should break up, but we stay together. And now, through our next born children and adoption, all that, now I got 4 kids, 2 grandkids, almost 26 years in, and we do marriage ministry, and it never should have happened. But so many people go into marriage easy. They go into marriage with an exit strategy rather than an eternal strategy. And so we determined that we were going to stay in it, and that God was going to get the glory from it, and that he could take something that was broken and show people something so beautiful. Like me and my wife, like when you think about a dude that's an adulterer, it's crazy that the love that I have for my wife and that I have for God now, because we got to see what God can do for us on the other side.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.